Stop wasting your time on unfinished manhwa. Here's 7 completed villainous manhwa that absolutely worth binge reading until very last chapter. First, authors Lee Heron, Arsu. Status completed. Genres comedy, drama, fantasy, full color, historical, isekai, josei, magic, manhwa, romance, villainous, webtoons. Chapters 104. Villainess in Love, also known as The Evil Lady's Hero, is a completed romance fantasy manhwa that follows a modern woman who reincarnates into a novel as Unifer Magnolia, a minor villainess destined for a tragic execution. The core plot. The original story, Unifer is consumed by jealousy because the devastatingly handsome male lead, Duke Ishid Lucrenze, only has eyes for her best friend, Rael. Her relentless harassment of Rael ultimately leads to her execution by the crown prince. Aware of this grim fate, the newly reincarnated Unifer vows to completely avoid all main characters to ensure her own survival. She aims to step aside entirely so Ishid and Rael can achieve their fairy tale ending. The twist, her survival plan instantly derails after a wild night out. Unifer gets heavily drunk and wakes up the next morning to find the drop-dead gorgeous Duke Ishid lying in bed next to her.
Second, authors Kosuke Ohno, Akihito Ono. Status completed. Genres drama, fantasy, isekai, reincarnation, romance, school life, villainous. Chapters 62.
Amazing!
The villainess behind the mask follows Winsty, a hidden magician who is shockingly poisoned on her unwanted wedding day by her seemingly supportive cousin, Adelina, who seeks to usurp control of the family. Instead of dying, the tragic betrayal triggers Winsty's magical awakening and inexplicably regresses her back to the moments right before the wedding occurred. Determined to protect her birthright, reclaim her family's lost honor, and enact brutal revenge against her greedy cousin, Winsty deliberately puts on a mask of feigned incompetence, acting completely foolish and dense to fly entirely under her enemy's radar. To secure a powerful shield for her plots, she enters into a calculated contract marriage relationship with a dangerous duke from a rival family. As Winsty secretly utilizes her hidden magical genius to dismantle Adelina's cruel schemes from the shadows, her personal pursuit of vengeance gradually uncovers a massive, deep-rooted political conspiracy tied straight to the Empire's emperor. Third, authors Ho. Status completed. Genres fantasy, full color, isekai, magic, manhwa, reincarnation, romance, shoujo, villainous, webtoons. Chapters 100. I Woke Up 20 Years Later, Japanese Okitara 20 nen Nandeskedo, is an otome isekai romance and revenge fantasy manga. Story summary. The story follows Fioria, a noblewoman who survives a poisoned assassination attempt but falls into a deep coma. When she wakes up 20 years later, she regains the memories of her past Japanese life and realizes she has been living inside the world of an otome game. However, she didn't wake up during the game's normal timeline. She woke up 20 years after the game's original ending. In her absence, her country has fallen into severe turmoil, and the heroine of the game has been revealed to be a manipulative spy who brainwashed the main targets. Equipped with her dual memories and overwhelming magical power, Fioria sets out on an exhilarating quest to execute absolute payback on everyone who wronged her and restore justice to her kingdom. Fourth, authors Ho. Status completed. Genres fantasy, full color, isekai, magic, manhwa, reincarnation, romance, shoujo, villainous, webtoons. Chapters 100.
Wow!
Rosianna Evenheider is a former modern-day office worker who dies of exhaustion and wakes up as the minor villainess in her favorite tragic novel, The Miracle of Dawn. In the original timeline, Rosianna is the cruel and abusive adoptive daughter of Marquise Evenheider, an ambitious man who ultimately discards and kills her once her usefulness expires. Unlike her villainous predecessor, the newly transmigrated Rosianna is highly pragmatic and compassionate. Armed with complete knowledge of the book's plot, she resolves to alter the narrative to ensure her own survival. To achieve her freedom and escape her father's grasp, Rosianna launches a strategic plan to save the novel's deeply troubled male leads from their doomed fates. In the original storyline, these men become destructively obsessed with the main heroine, Belle, leading to a war that tears the empire apart. By intervening early in their lives, Rosianna acts as a backstage savior to key figures like Kadim, the first prince, and Belle's own brother. Through her clever scheming and deep understanding of their traumas, she successfully neutralizes her adoptive father's threats and guides the entire cast toward a peaceful, happy ending. Fifth, authors, G. Seasoning, G. Unsol, Neve. Status completed. Genres: adaptation, fantasy, full color, manhwa, romance, shoujo, villainess, webtoons. Chapters 100. The Villainess's dazzling debut follows the miserable life and ultimate betrayal of Princess Athela Inuas. After her fiancé runs away with her cousin and another cousin steals her throne, condemning her to freeze to death in the Ice Palace, Athela unexpectedly wakes up several years in the past. Armed with a newfound magical ability to detect lies and fueled by a desire for vengeance, she sets out to rewrite her destiny, reclaim the kingdom, and become the most dazzling princess the empire has ever seen. Sixth, authors. Flowing Honey. Status completed. Genres: adaptation, fantasy, full color, historical, manhwa, reincarnation, romance, shoujo, tragedy. Chapters 117. I've Become a True Villainess The story follows the classic isekai reincarnation trope, centering on an ordinary modern-day student who suddenly awakens inside the pages of a fantasy romance novel. To her absolute horror, she realizes she has been reincarnated as Seria Stern, the story's main villainess who is destined to suffer a brutal, public execution for her wicked deeds. Refusing to accept this horrific fate, she uses her meta-knowledge of the plot to immediately begin righting her previous wrongs, cleaning up her toxic reputation, and securing an engagement to keep herself safe. Just when she thinks she has successfully avoided her tragic ending, the original novel's actual heroine makes her grand appearance, causing the entire storyline to spin completely out of control. Instead of sticking to the original script, the heroine's wealthy and powerful fiancé becomes utterly obsessed with Seria, stubbornly refusing to leave her alone and entangling her in an unexpected, high-stakes romantic conflict. Seventh, authors. Seo Guisho, Redgu, Hoje, D. Sibo. Status completed. Genres: adaptation, comedy, drama, fantasy, full color, historical, magic, manhwa, reincarnation, romance, villainous, webtoons. Chapters 106. When the Villainess is in Love is a popular romance fantasy manhwa that follows a young girl who is transmigrated into the body of her favorite web novel character, the secondary antagonist, Princess Liberty Vance. Knowing from the original plot that all her beloved characters are doomed to a tragic end, she decides to leverage her new royal identity to protect them and orchestrate a happy ending for everyone. However, her enthusiastic fangirling and genuine kindness completely confuse the people around her, causing them to misinterpret her actions and view the notoriously cruel princess in a completely new, forgiving light. The completed adaptation is written and illustrated by a creative team consisting of Seo Guijo, Redgu, HJ, and D. Sibo. It seamlessly blends elements of the isekai, comedy, drama, and historical genres into a vibrant, full-color webtoon experience.